Morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell, along with my brother and very, very special guest, Jsnip4. We're coming here again with another financial update. I know that many of you are reeling back and forth, don't know what to do as far as trying to make sense of everything that's going on with all the volatility that's going on in the market today. I'm going to tell you right now, I solely and have lately just done nothing but depend upon the wisdom that Brother Joe has come up with, because we was talking on the phone the other day, and he has given out a few scenarios, and these scenarios just literally made sense to me. So we're going to talk a little bit about Lindsey Williams, possible activities that could be taking place in the future. But I think more than anything, we'll start off with mentioning about how that, hey, all these other countries here in the world, they're not playing the game of the U.S. dollar anymore like the people in the European countries have been, and that, hey, they just literally been taken to the bank, so to speak. We got Switzerland and we got Germany, along with other people that are starting to call their gold. They want their gold back from New York. I want my gold out of the United States of America hands. We want it in our own country. We already know that Hugo Chavez in Venezuela is called for their gold, and as a result, we saw all of a sudden total collapse of this thing called MF Global. But I tell you what, with all the things that are taking place today, if you have not gotten the message by now that you need to be intangible assets in order to, number one, protect your dinner table, like Lindsey Williams says, number two, to hedge yourself against inflation, and number three, just literally wake up and get out of the Ponzi scheme, how your wealth has literally been stolen from you. You have literally been raped, robbed, murdered, and pillaged, half a death, just by them giving you fiat currency for something that is real and has been money for over 6,000 years. Brother Joe, tell me, what is the deal going on right now, and how is America going to respond to all these countries calling for their gold?
I'll tell you how they're going to respond. From a simpleton at my work. Now, my friend at work who has purchased silver with me, and very recently, like yesterday and today, is asking me, when I want to buy some silver. We're at $31 some change now, and I want to buy some silver. I said, all right, we may be able to pull the trigger here in a minute. I said, I kind of want to watch tomorrow and maybe a little bit of next week first to see if they keep pushing it down or not before I pull that trigger. So I said, you do realize that with the downward pressure we've seen over the last 2-3 weeks in gold and silver, there has been a large buyer of gold and silver. And guess who it is? The central banks of the world, including, what is that one? The International Bank of Settlements, I believe.
Wow.
Why are they buying gold? As Ben Bernanke said, it's just a tradition. But is it tradition for all of the central banks and the International Bank of Settlements of all places? What the heck are they doing with gold? So he's been talking to a guy at work, and he's been telling him, he sent him a link, and it says, the title is Ben Bernanke says paper money is better than gold to solve our financial problem. This is the speech the old Ben Bernanke was given to these colleges here recently. And so he sent this to this other guy at work, and this guy replies back, silver is down almost 35% from its high, and he's referring to when it was $50 last year. Remember what happened to gold in 1980. Everybody was buying, price was going up. Then, like any commodity with the false bubble, it crashed, and many people lost a lot of money or had to let it sit in there for almost 20 years to get it back. I have bought gold and silver, but it's knowing how much to buy and when. Gold will go down, and gold will never be a world monetary standard again, as there are too many transactions for it to cover. I follow the Warren Buffett mantra, and it's always served me well. Whatever. When others are greedy, be scared. When others are scared, be greedy, is the mantra. Over the years, whenever the market drops significantly and people are selling off and afraid to buy, that's when I buy all I can. A few years back, when the market was down 6,500, I bought as much as I could across the board. Now the market's over 13,000. I don't know if he's referring to Warren Buffett or himself, but notice how he said this is the mindset of an average person. We are never going back on a gold standard. The world's not going on a gold standard. There's not enough gold to do all these transactions. I don't think he realizes they're not going to be issuing gold at the banks and little coins and little 10-cent pre-1965 or 4 coins. That's not what backing your currency by gold means. It means you've got tons of these giant, like the gold is 400-ounce bricks. Silver could be the big 1,000-ounce bars or the 100-ounce bars or whatever. And a central bank or a country is basically going to acquire those and then say, okay, we've got X amount of gold and silver. Our currency is now backed by that. And what he's, of course, not understanding, which goes into line with what Lindsey Williams said, is that they're not done getting all these countries in debt, he said. They're still got a lot more room to go in Europe especially. But once everyone's destroyed, once the whole thing comes crashing down, he said it's going to happen. It's not going to be this month again. It's not going to be next month. He said as far out to June, he's pretty sure it won't take place, based off of talking to his elitist friend. But when it does, everything's going to go down. He didn't say specifically gold and silver would, but from where I come from, because it's a paper-traded asset that sets the price, it could get crashed on too, or it could crash too along with it, at least short-term. But as he said, they are going to come out once this takes place and say, look, massive problems, people lost their retirement, all these things, and none of the banks did anything wrong. They didn't break any laws. Just like MF Global, we didn't break any laws. So but you stole it. Nah, but we didn't break any laws. So long story short, shut up, stop saying that. We don't want the spotlight on us. Everyone's in trouble. The world economies are in trouble. We have a solution. And we're going to use the IMF or the central bank, whatever, or the World Bank, and it's got tons and tons and tons and tons of gold and precious metals, all kinds, to back our currency. And there's a difference, again, between backing and making it the currency. If you make it the currency, then everyone has to carry around gold and silver all the time. Or at least in this modern day and age, you could at least deposit it at your bank somehow in their vault or whatever. That kind of, it's not going to happen. It's going to be backed by gold and silver. So if you look at the central bank cycles, and if anyone out there wants to know a good documentary, there's 2 of them, but the second one kind of fixes upon a few issues with the first one. First one was called The Money Masters, or Money Masters. The second one, which is done by the same guy, again, to clean up some of the things in the old one and come up with some new things, is called The Secret of Oz. And he goes on to explain it. But I noticed while I'm watching this documentary, he goes back into history pretty good and shows where we had a president who tried to get rid of the central bank, assassinated. Another president comes along, pays off the debt somehow, gets America square again. We don't need the central bank. We're going to make it the American government central bank, so to speak, not you guys. Gets killed again. And they would go back and forth with problems with gold and silver and paper money. And I noticed that every time there's an issue, and it's always the issue of when the paper money issue comes out, and they've lasted as long as it could. Again, there's that 39-year roughly period of paper fiat currency that doesn't last any longer than that, or roughly. And they would say, okay, everyone's up in arms, everyone's pissed off. We're gonna go back to the gold and silver standard. We're gonna back the next currency by gold and silver, or what have you. Everyone would slowly settle back down. Everyone would be okay, and then again, 10, 20, or not 10, but probably 20, 30, 40 years goes by. Here we go again. We're getting rid of the gold standard. We're not really getting rid of it. We're just, you guys can't own it anymore. We're just going to give it to the government, but it's still back. And then, of course, 1971 comes around. Now we don't have any gold. Well, we have it in Fort Knox, but don't ever check there because you're not going to see what we don't have. But we claim we have it in Fort Knox, and now we're backed by nothing. And, again, I look back in history. What happens when you're backed by nothing? It lasts a while. People figure out they've been destroyed. Their lives have been destroyed by what these central bankers have done. And they change it right back to gold and silver because the people demand it, and they already know it. So if you sit here and you look at every central bank, right, last 2-3 weeks, who's buying all the gold? Central banks. Why are let's get a third party in here. Let me get a third video camera for us. I'm gonna conference in Ben Bernanke. Ben Bernanke, yeah, is gold money? No. Okay.
No.
Why do you guys stack it, central banks? And recently, why have you guys spent millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way, buying tons of gold, all you different central banks, including this time the International Bank of Settlements.
Well, to hedge yourself against tail risk.
No. You must not have heard him. He said it was tradition.
Yeah, that's
It's tradition.
he did say tradition.
That's it. Okay, thanks, Bernanke. You can go now. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. You have to be, as Gerald Celente says, grow up. We're all adults. You're only a child. We're not children. You try to talk to us and pretend like we're children. Only a moron can't see this. Only a child couldn't understand and see what these guys are doing. Like the other day we got another, what was it called, MBF or something? Another MF Global. CFTC is suing them because, hey, you guys aren't doing, you guys are putting your segregated funds together. Supposed to be segregated customer accounts, and you're putting them together. What do you mean you're suing them? Where the hell were you guys at on MF Global? And not only that, I'm reading today from Zero Hedge, which posts some mainstream media articles to back it, that for the last year, entire 2011 year, which is when the MF Global went down at the end, we haven't audited 1, 2, and 3 of these brokers, and including number 3 is MF Global. So we have regulators, Mr., as I like to call him, the head of the CFTC, Gary the Turd Burglar Gensler,
right.
Up in front of Congress. We need a bigger budget. We need a bigger budget for the CFTC. Please give us a bigger budget. We gotta take care of some things, and we need a little more manpower. But you guys didn't do jack crap the entire 2011 year. You didn't look at any of these brokerages houses, and they got away with murder basically, and went belly up. And now you're coming there, hat in hand, give me some money because we gotta help regulate. And without that money, you've already been on this MBF guy or whoever they are, which is small time. It's only a few millions of dollars as compared to MF Global, which was one time 600 million. It might be 700 or 800 million. No, now it's 1.2 million, and the recent statistics is now 1.6 million. Billion with a B. So you guys have the manpower to go after this little guy who's not a member of the club.
There you go.
But the big guy who did the most damage, hands off.
Isn't that seem to be the same thing that's taking place right now with Greece? We got all these other countries that is in the same predicament that Greece is in right now, totally insolvent. But they're picking on the little bitty countries like Greece, Spain, and Portugal. Is that not the same thing going on today?
Yeah, minus Spain. Spain's a bigger one, but Ireland, Portugal, Greece. These are small potatoes, basically. And look how many hundreds of $1 million we've already had to deal with Greece alone, and that's it's a joke. So now you've got Spain, you've got Italy, you've got France. You got these big guys that have their books just as cooked as Greece, except the spotlight is not quite on them yet, like it is on Greece.
Right.
So on these other countries, they're heavily into some of the credit default swaps with Greece and other things. So I think, is it tomorrow, the 23rd? I believe tomorrow, according to Zero Hedge, that there's going to be some kind of hashing out with some more Greek bond nonsense that we're going to get to basically see who the players are and some of that and see what it equals, but. Even according to Lindsey Williams, he said even with Greece going down, the media is going to treat it like nothing happened. See, guys, it was kind of a non-event. I mean, everything's okay. But in the background, with these derivatives instruments, there's, weapons, as Max Kaiser calls them, weapons of financial mass, whatever he calls them, weapons, WMDs, financial
destruction.
WMDs. Weapons of mass destruction, financial weapons of mass destruction. So these guys they all bet on this debt. They all bet on each other's debt, and Greece is one of the failing ones, but everyone bet on that debt too. And then they take out an insurance contract in case that bet doesn't quite work out. And that's called a credit default swap. So now all of a sudden credit default swaps are starting to come due. And you hear in the mainstream media, oh, it's just a little few million for that guy, and this guy might lose 1 point something billion, and that's about all. But in reality, that's not all, because if you have the thing is, if you have an insurance contract and you're issuing me insurance for some product that I got over here, and I bet on Greece debt, and my bet was bad, and I need that damn insurance like right now, so you have to pay it. Unbeknownst to everybody else, you also bet on that Greece debt, and you also got insurance contracts from another person doing the same thing I did. So if any one of us stands up and says, man, I can't pay that tab. We broke the insurance, but it's too much. We can't pay it. It stops right there. The chain stops. It breaks, and it causes a cascading event. The only way, of course, they could bail that out would be another bailout. The financial institutions with these derivatives and credit default swaps, too big to fail. This guy's going to bring down the whole financial institutions, and we can't allow that. We need X amount of billions of more dollars to bail so-and-so out, so-and-so bank, and it'll continue on for a little while longer, as Lindsey Williams said. Going to get us even in more debt than we can imagine, and then they'll pull the rug out from the markets. Everything will collapse, and the old World Bank, or he didn't say who specifically, but whoever that is, I'm guessing the World Bank and IMF, it has to be, is going to stand up, use our currency, because we've got everything covered.
Let's deal with a couple of things here just for a second. It has to do with oil and gas. Now, of course, we both know, I think it was about a month ago, at that longer period of time, I definitely called, hey, prices getting ready to go up. Just like I called no more than maybe 6 months ago. I told the people to keep their eyes on the Congo. I don't care what these people are saying, all this stage playing and all this grandstand is going on out there. Go ahead.
I asked you. You mentioned that on one of your blog talk shows, I want to say. I think it was one of your blog talk shows. And I was either calling in or we were doing a video. Maybe we weren't doing a video, but we were talking nonetheless. Maybe it was even on the phone. And you mentioned that. And I watched your video, and I said, man, why are you mentioning that? Like, out of all the other things, I don't know, like, why are you going there? And you explained it. And here we are with the old Coney 2012. Let's go after this guy, Coney, Joseph Coney. Do they have oil there? Yes, they do. Got quite a bit of oil, as a matter of fact. Now, oh man, the children. The children. Gotta go for the children. Hey. What do you mean the children? All of the whole continent of Africa has been in ruins and fighting for God knows how long now. We don't get involved. But Middle East area, Libya, okay, we're getting close. We've got a little agenda to take care of. And if it doesn't have anything to do with the national security interests of the United States of America,
right,
we're not going to get involved. And Mr. Joseph Coney technically has nothing to do with our interests, but there's oil there and there's a staging ground to do other things. We may have to go get involved. And just like old John the warmonger McCain says, we can't get a UN security resolution. We may have to, these people need us. These people are suffering and they need us. Mr. Warmonger McCain, they've been suffering, and not only them, that's a tiny fraction of what the suffering's going on across the world. But if you just want to focus on the continent of Africa, every freaking country in there's practically got something going on.
Oh, yeah.
So if that's the case, why aren't we over there, Mr. McCain? Well, one thing at a time. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they would say. And again, let's talk about the latest executive order passed. Hold on a second. This dog's killing me. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear him barking?
Just barely, but not now.
All right. So this executive order, last Friday, and I got people that I work with that are from Cuba, communist Cuba, and they tell me, he's like, I've got an older guy that's almost my father's age, and his father's still alive, and they were head into it. His father basically fought side by side with Fidel Castro, trying to take over Cuba, and we're for the people. We're going to change this dictatorship thing going on here. We're going to fix it. And all of a sudden, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind. So he changes his mind, and now we're becoming communist Cuba. We're going to take over this, take over that. All the people, what could they do? Hey, you were for us. We're with you. Now all of a sudden you're taking over, and there's nothing I can do about it. Hang on a second. I gotta let this dog out. He's killing me.
Okay. Well, while Brother Joe is doing that, earlier we had talked about how that here in America that the gas prices, you're going to see them going through the roof. I know that people say, well, Pastor Dowell, you've been talking about the gas prices for quite some time. Yeah, they've been going through the roof for quite some time. But we've already told you that the gas prices are going through the roof, and, of course, it's evident. We have steadily watched this. Now, you know what's amazing about this is that these hypocrites, the 535 that are sitting up there behind those sealed walls and sealed houses and stuff, while they're going to watch the mass populace destroy each other over the laws that they so-called be making and stuff. The United States of America is not suffering a gas shortage whatsoever at all. We have no solutions to our national debt. And like I said before, and I'll echo it again, it's amazing how we have no solutions to our economic debt, but when it comes to protecting the so-called political officials or public officials and stuff, we can all come together and we don't have to worry about having partisan politics. We're all bipartisan all of a sudden. So you watch and see. Right now, the United States is exporting more oil than they're importing. And the reason why they're doing that, because it's the only commodity that they can actually make money off of. They're getting 75 cents per gallon to ship this thing in. Now, before Joe had left to take care of the situation now, we was on Africa and how the countries, all the countries in the world, China was the first one in there within the recent times to go ahead and to start taking the resources out of Africa. But we told you some time ago, hey, don't pay attention to all this sideshow, stage playing stuff that they're doing with fiat money, Federal Reserve notes, paper money in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Resources is what's going to control this new world order that's coming up. And that's the reason why you seeing all of these nations squabbling and fighting, playing chess, so to speak, over who's going to be next and who we're going to get the resources from, because you got all these big major countries right now beating up on all these little small independent countries who are not together, and they're divided, and that's the reason why they're being conquered. And so we're in a bad situation for us as the American people. It may seem like it, but we're in a bad situation, and we're going to feel this thing even more so as we are watching clearly that our own government has made the American citizens not only terrorists like allegedly so-called Osama bin Laden and the rest of the terrorist network. We are the ones being terrorized. Every time we go to the store, we're being terrorized with more taxes. We have taxation without representation. If you call that representation up there, I don't want to be represented. I don't want nobody in my best interest and stuff. But these people, these selected officials are representing our best interests.
And the people
ahead.
From anywhere that was in a Cuban situation, got a guy coming to power, we're going to fix things. The same thing happened, I think, in Venezuela. And this little nobody guy for the people, they've tore us apart, they've divided our dollar two times, not 2/3, but it took 3-to-1 ratio of their dollar, which was 1-to-1 with ours. And then they had this collapse in 2002, and it goes immediately overnight 3-to-1. And this guy comes out, they raped us, they took us to the cleaners, and I'm going to fix it. He gets in power, and the elite surround this guy, give him a nice big house and this money. Next thing you know, we're going back onto the old agenda. The people finally banging pots and pans for God knows how long, getting nothing done, finally surrounded his house. It's not his house, his mansion. And the guy left in a helicopter, never to be seen again. And they have a lady that was, I think, that took over, and she's not too much better anyways. But why I'm saying this is because you look at the Cuban situation where people, hey, this guy's coming to power, he's coming to fix us, all right, he's for the people. And then they get in there, and you sit back and say, oh, well, I don't like that. I'm starting not to like that.
Puppet master.
They're going to say, well, that's those countries, those are third world countries, and that's Cuba, and that's Venezuela, and that's this and that. It's not America. It's not America. That won't happen here. It's already happening.
You got it.
If you don't think it's already happening, I'll just urge anyone to go back, and I don't remember the exact executive order, but just type in March 16, 2012 executive order. Guarantee you'll find it. And just read through it like I did. I spent an hour reading it. Not all, most of it, about 90% of it I read.
Yeah.
And if they are not gearing us up for war and total takeover, I don't know I don't know how else to determine. If you can't come to that conclusion reading that, then you need to just stick your head back in the sand. And pretend that everything's fine. The only thing we have in this country, which they tried to start the process of getting rid of, is our freedom to have a gun. And they had to take that. And Lindsey Williams said a long time ago, that's one of the last things they'll come do is come take your guns. And we saw Fast and Furious with Eric Holder shipping guns. They kill our law enforcement with the same guns that they shipped. And is he in trouble? No. Is he arrested? No. Has he even, forget that, is he even fired or let go? No. He's getting a promotion.
He's got diplomatic immunity.
He's going to have a promotion here shortly. So, I mean, you have this stuff going on, and it's nice to see that they get called out and get caught from time to time. Usually they don't, so you can only imagine what they've already done behind the scenes that we don't even know about. But this guy got caught, and I thank God it was for that reason, because that may be the one thing that when they really try to take the firearms, everyone's going to say, no, you guys, you were shipping guns to cartels. Don't tell us we can't have our guns. And I'm hoping that's what happened. But, again, with Cuba and all these other places, how is that stuff still into play? How is this guy still in the power? How are they still under this dictatorship socialist guy? Because everyone who works for that guy, known as the military and police and government workers, they all get paid pretty nicely. Everyone else suffers. And everyone rats out on each other, get thrown in prison. You try to sell something on the side of the street, you're going to prison. Can't do it. Guys were telling me all kinds of stories today at work about how when they were in Cuba and they had to leave and their father was there and how he would sell ice cream on the corner and lollipops, they'd throw him into prison. And again, how is this continuing? Because you ask these guys who enforce it. The law enforcement agencies, the military, right? Why do you do that? Well, it's my job. I got to do it. I'm just doing my job. Just doing my job. I got to do it. And now all of a sudden what he's telling me is they're starting to get a little bit, people are starting to stand up a little bit here recently in Cuba, and a little bit of protest kind of thing. Not much, but it's starting to take a little movement from what he's telling me. And again, if you look at history, it's guaranteed that that will not last. People will finally have had enough, and they will do something. They will overthrow him like he overthrew the last government. And everybody that put these draconian measures in place and then enforce them, the military, whoever, oh, just do my job, just do my job. They may find themselves in prison.
What did you say the other day? The other day you said that what they do is they keep passing these laws and these executive orders. They do them a little bit at a time.
Yep.
So it doesn't cite your senses and stuff, so it doesn't arouse you that much. Okay, ain't no big deal. They just doing what they do, politicians do. Right. But then they continue to keep, having our civil liberties eroded from us. For instance, we can't even protest near a federal building today. First Amendment, go on and ball it up, throw it out. Just go and throw it away. Now they're making moves on, hey, if you're storing any food or resources, that belongs to the military. That belongs to the government, too. So it's a little bit at a time, and they just putting the laws on the book to put them in place so we can say that, okay, we're not breaking the law. We are enforcing the law.
Right. So Satan himself comes in, somehow gets into Barack Obama's body and starts making him, let's just say, now he's doing Satan's work.
Yeah.
And forget, for those of you, because I know there's some people who just love Barack, so let's pretend, because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, that there's some other guy, we don't even know who he is in the White House. And he made it. He got voted in somehow, whether it was rigged or not, he made it. Okay, so the president, we'll just call him the president. The president. Comes in and starts passing draconian laws, and there's ones he can't get that are terrible through Congress. Hey, Bernanke, you got a pen I could borrow? Yeah, I'm going to write an executive order. Executive order. Now it's set in stone. So that when any law enforcement or anybody, down from the police to the federal level, military, we're just following orders. And listen, it's law. It's law. So if at any one point in time the law was written that these crooks at the top can come to your house, rape your wife, kill your children, what are you going to say? It's the law. Would you allow it or would you revolt? Oh, I wouldn't do that. Ain't no one coming to my house. Oh, really? That's what you would have said just a few years ago about a dozen of the things that they've passed in the last few years. Maybe not even a dozen, maybe half a dozen of the major things that they've passed. If I would have told you then and had the foresight to see the bills, even healthcare bill, the NDAA, this latest executive order, the thing we just talked about where you can't protest in front of a building, all that, if I told you that just a few years ago, not even 2008, this is what's going to happen, you would say, oh, that's not going to happen. People will revolt. There's no way. I wouldn't even allow that. Here it is. It's right here. But they didn't do it all at once. One session of Congress or one stroke of Barack's pen. We're going to do a little bit over here. 6 months goes by. A year goes by. Let's do a little bit over here. It's called the old boiling frog scenario.
The proverbial frog in the bucket.
He puts it in there. It's lukewarm. It's nice. It's toasty. Starts cranking up that heat a little bit, 1 degree at a time, every few minutes. He'll never even know it. By the time he realizes it, he's burning. That's how we're going to be. But I almost feel like because they've been put back on their schedule, these elitists have been pushed back, things aren't going their way. Syria's not going their way yet. Gaddafi took forever for them. They can't get this damn Syria next because the freaking UN Security Council will not vote in favor, or what are we going to do? All these things starts backing them into a corner to where they realize we got to start doing some stuff. We know we didn't get the authority, but we got to start doing some stuff. Let's do it. And then they start making these changes rapidly. And I think it's going to be some of these rapid changes that hit people all at once. It could also be one singular event that's just too big, such as the market's getting destroyed.
Now, with that, and on that note, let's get on that note right there, talking about the upcoming pending economic crash, because earlier you made a statement that they're going to crash everything. And are you talking about the dollar? We're talking about bringing the metals down. Of course, you and I both know that the sole reason we're bringing the metals down, they're not going to zero like the dollars are going to go to zero.
Right.
They're doing it to shake everybody out of it, to get everybody in the flood so they can lose confidence. Get all your metals back in there, make a quick sell, which it'll be a buying opportunity for you and I, because this is what we're looking for.
That's right.
This is what we're looking for. So this crash you had spoke about earlier, you gave a scenario, your own personal scenario, what you thought could be taking place. Let's hear that again.
For example, like the SLV, as well as the COMEX and the LBMA. I mean, those are the exchanges that the real metals, allegedly, real metals will be traded on, and these paper contracts are put out on. But we all know they don't have the metal. But all they have to do is say they have the metal.
Right.
All the regulators, all the bank, they're all in bed together, so it's not like they're going to go investigate. Let's make sure he's got the metal. They never do. For God's sakes, all of last year, 2011, did you look at MF Global or any of these guys you were supposed to be looking at and regulating? No, we didn't. We didn't do it. Well, I rest my case. So you're going to find the same thing. It's just failure, another failure, another little failure. Just things happen, coincidence, failure, whatever. We just didn't have our hand on it. We had lost the side of the ball. That nonsense. But if you have the SLV and you take all this money, it's the SLV is a paper stock. So if you say, well, I want 100 ounces of silver, or I want 100 ounces of SLV stocks, shares, it's the same thing in the paper world. So I've got 100 shares of SLV. My 401k program doesn't allow me to go get silver with it. It allows me, though, to invest in the SLV. So my 401k, I'm going to the SLV. And I've got 500 paper ounces or 500 shares of SLV. I've been buying since it was $20. It hits 30. It hit 40. But every week, my paycheck, boom, a little bit's coming out, going to the SLV, just like it would any other stock. So you have all this money flooding into the owners of SLV, and they're not buying any real physical gold or silver for the GOD or the SLV, or so little it doesn't even matter. And then when they crash the markets and or crash gold and silver separately or together with the markets, they'll say, hey, here's our prospectus. It says right here, due to market conditions and other things, the trustee and whatnot deserve the right to liquidate all the gold and silver to close down the SLV, and in doing so, we will pay you the current market price in your shares, whatever it is, whatever the price is. And if it's $10 silver, we reserve the right, even if you think next week or next month it's going to skyrocket, doesn't matter. Right now, market conditions say it's not good. So we're liquidating it. Have a nice day. Here's your $10 back per share for everybody who's got these shares. And then the whole time, all these years, from $20, $30, $40, $50 silver, they've been collecting everybody's money and not using the money to buy the silver. So they would gladly take a little tiny fraction, which is $10 per share, give it out, pay everybody out. Hey, at least you didn't go to zero, guys. It's better than some places, huh? Yeah, I guess you're right. And never even think the question, did they really liquidate and sell all the gold and silver they had in the vaults to pay us right now? They'll never even think to say that, because even if they do, they're going to say, prove you sold it. Let me see it. They don't have to show you. They're not going to show you. Nobody can force them to show us. So in my eyes, they have to get rid of that vehicle known as the SLV and the GLD. They have to cover it up. So they have to destroy it to cover it up. And in my eyes, we should probably see some kind of bad days ahead, whatever, for silver and gold. And it may not be, I mean, it could go two ways. It could be just like they're doing now. They're just $1 minus here today, $2 there. Just settle little things and keep taking it down. The other way is, well, let's wait for the whole big collapse to take place, because if the big collapse takes place, everything across the board is affected, including gold and silver. No one will ever be able to say, well, let us sue you and let us, get subpoenas for record. The whole market's destroyed. Everyone's going to see it. No one's going to question it. Gold and silver went down with it because they are traded on the market, and the price is set on the market. So they would be able to just scapegoat out of that. Everyone would be fine. Well, not fine, but they wouldn't really question it too much. But those of us with gold and silver sitting in our safe, it's not like the SLV's calling me, yeah, you bought that at 10, 20. It's only $10 right now if this happens right now. And if I decide to take it and liquidate it then I'm going to get back $10 an ounce. I'd be a damn fool to do so because I know it's going to be going way up in the near future, especially when they come out, hey, use our world currency. It's backed by gold and silver. And a lot of the puppet governments who don't know anything, these people aren't intelligent. These people aren't financial experts. They are people, like Gerald Celente says perfectly. They were the guy in high school and college. They wanted to be the class president. They wanted to be on the student council. They wanted to be big shots. They don't know anything, but they want to be somebody. So these somebodies are now running our show. They're in Congress. They're in the presidency. They're in the IMF. They're all over the place, and they want to play the game. So all they're going to do is do what they're told by the elite and pretend like I'm a big shot and I'm doing it. So it's safe to say that the rest of the world, Eurozone, I don't know about the United States right away, but a lot of other countries are going to be in a lot of pain. When the dollar goes down and the stock markets go down, they're going to be in a lot of pain. They may be really quick to say we definitely to stop all this from ever happening again. We do need to join this world currency. All they have to do is say it and do it.
So we got Eric Sprott. You know, you're familiar with Eric Sprott?
The
Yes,
PSLV. Yep.
All right. So how would he be affected when all this goes down? Even though he's like us, he has his fund actually backed up by physical silver.
Yeah, he has this. It's kind of similar to the SLV. The PSLV is the same thing, except because it's him, you can be rest assured he really does have the exact amount of gold and silver in his secure warehouses that back these shares that he gives out, just like the SLV. The only difference is the SLV does not have the gold and silver. And again, the gold is the GLD, the silver is the SLV. Same with Eric Sprott. I think it's PGLD if he even does that, or I know he does the SLV, so it's or his own version of it, which is the PSLV. But I mean, unless he decides to do something, because I mean, I guess I haven't looked at his prospectus. But they all, when it comes to these paper assets, have the same right to do so whenever they want. And if bad market conditions take place, well, they can sell it. The only difference is you got a guy like Eric Sprott who thus far has proven himself to be a legitimate human being. Legitimate player in gold and silver. He doesn't like the manipulation. He doesn't like any of this nonsense either, and he's trying to do it the right way, and he is. So if I had no choice but to put my paper, money into, in other words, if I had a 401k and I have to choose something and I want precious metals, if my company can get into the PSLV, I would do it in a heartbeat and never even think about going to the SLV. Exactly.
So all you people out there, remember, we have always told you long term. Yes. Long term. Don't get caught up in waiting for all these swings and all these ups and all these downs and all this volatility, because you possibly coming up here in the near future, you could see some stuff that would make, when doubt and fear comes your way and you meet it face to face, you're going to have some challenges and some decisions to make. And I just hope that you don't bite the bullet and play into the game. But emotions. Just like I said a long time ago, squat and hold and then wait for the rising. Wait for the uprising to come later on, because if you have the intestinal fortitude to be able to stick this thing out and hold, you're going to see that you're going to reap the rewards, and you're going to have the last laugh about all these people who've been laughing at you.
But you're going to feel some pain. And that pain was when we had $50 silver and it went to 40, back down to 35, back up to 43, back down to 35, back down to 26, 27, 35 recently, 37 and a half, almost 38 recently, back down to 31 today. Oh, if you're looking at this daily, you're going to get emotional daily. And you'll feel good. Oh, we're up $2 today. Wow, you're going to feel good on those days. And then, oh, shoot, we're down $3 today. Holy crap, man. I shouldn't have bought it when I bought it. Don't even waste your time with that nonsense. If you're doing that, stop watching our videos. Stop listening to us, because this is not for you.
Save your sanity.
You have got to stack the silver in your possession and keep buying it. Buy it when it goes up a little bit. Buy it when it goes down a little bit. Whatever your strategy is. I've been buying left and right, just whatever. Because of my thoughts on the SLV and stuff, like I said, I'm waiting. I want to see Friday, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday before I decide am I going to pull the trigger on some silver. My friend was begging me today, let's place an order. I said, let's just wait. Let's wait till tomorrow and then Monday. And I may buy half of what I originally intended just in case we see a nice big downward movement. But I'll tell you right now, if I see them destroy silver and I'm able to look on Gainesville Coins or APMEX or somewhere, and they've got it in stock, and we have just seen the destruction of silver and gold, I will be maxing out some credit cards like you've never seen.
I don't blame you.
And I won't default on them.
I don't blame you.
The price will rise significantly, and when it rises to more than double, let's say if they crash it to $10, as soon as it rises to $20, I'll sell half of my silver, pay off all the credit cards. And then I got half the silver, and it's sitting here. I've already done something similar when silver was in the 30s, and it was going to 50. And I decided I'm going to put it on the credit card now to lock in the price right now in case it keeps going up. And it did keep going up, so I kind of won that battle. Of course, I could have lost. I could have bought at 50 thinking it was going higher and used the credit card then, and then found it went down to 35. So I had one small purchase. It's interesting because it was through APMEX where it was at $42, and it was when they lost my order, and they have insurance that they pay when they ship it. So I told them, well, you guys have insurance, correct? Yes. So you're going to get the full money back, right? Yes. Well, in that case, lock me in today because it was like $37 and resend the order. Okay. So I got it like 5 or 6 or 7 extra ounces of silver out of the little bit I got or whatever. So that was one move I used all at once, but that wasn't a credit card. That was a simple one-time purchase on my debit card. I guess you can kind of look at it the same way. But the bottom line is, like I tell people, if you're investing in stocks and every week you've got 8% or 10%, whatever it is, of your check coming out, or every month coming out into some investment strategy, there's no reason why you can't do that with silver.
That's right.
I understand people want to sit on the sideline and say, what if it goes down more? Then I want to buy it. I want to see if we can hit 25 again. If we can get to 25, I'm going to buy some more. Why are you waiting? Especially if you don't have any. You wouldn't do that with your stock. You can't call the 401k company and say, listen, this week, next week, the week after, matter of fact, the next 8 weeks, I don't like what I'm seeing and the things I'm invested in. Don't invest these things for the next 7 weeks. And I'm going to call you back, and then I'm going to tell you to start. You can't really do that. You just keep paying in. I mean, I guess there's some places where you can put it on hold temporarily, but you just don't even look. You're always told by the, quote, financial experts, you don't do that. You just buy. And we know the markets go up and down, but generally they go up. You just keep putting in and doing your thing. Why can't you have the same strategy for silver? And if it goes down while you just made a purchase, who cares, because you're about to make another purchase.
Right.
At the good price. And when it's all said and done, you're going to say, man, I've made X amount of purchases, and I've got X amount of silver. I'm fine, because now that the corruption stopped, the whole thing collapsed, prices are skyrocketing, you're going to look back and think of these stupid times when it was $32.57, and man, if it goes to 29, I'm going to buy in, and I'm going to buy 100 ounces then. You're gonna wait over $3 or so,
right?
And then when it's $100, $200 an ounce, when all the chaos kicks in with the market, with the precious metals market, you're gonna look back and say, I was sitting here fretting over stupid $3, and I've got $100-something silver sitting on my hand with a premium to sell it of several dollars, and for Silver Eagles that might be $10 premium. And here I am, one person who bought some Silver Eagles for $10. Back in, it was either late 08 or early 09, and I'm going to think, wait a minute, I'm selling my silver that I paid $10 for. The premium's $10, plus it's $100 an ounce. So the $10 is a bonus that I basically got this coin for free, and the $100 is my extra profit. So that's why you have to stack and don't pay attention to this. It is long term, and I'm telling you right now, these big silver and gold numbers, you may not see them this year, you may not see them next year. You may not see them the year after. Does it really matter? No, because this is long-term, and it is strictly to save your financial livelihood. And again, when the time comes and you see this and you played right, like we're telling you, you'll look back and say, man, thank you, God, for letting me find these guys on YouTube. I'm glad that my stomach, even though it made me sick a couple times when they crashed silver on me, that I held in there, I kept buying, and now I've got this little pile of silver. The price is so high today, I'm so happy. They were right. It worked. Everything's expensive, and I can still buy tons and tons of stuff with just a little bit of silver.
That's right.
That day will come.
That day is coming.
6,000 plus years of history that proves it.
You got that right. So, hey, people, I hope that some way, somehow, today, this evening, whatever time frame you may be in, that Brother Joe has also said something to help not only bring an understanding for what's going on in the markets as well as the world economy today, but also to try to help settle you a little bit, because you cannot put confidence in these markets. You cannot put confidence in a system that is not regulated by nobody. I mean,
when they can steal from you and take all your investments and tell you get nothing, and we didn't break the law, sucker.
Oh, yeah, no law.
When they can say that, you have got to be a damn fool.
You got it.
To be invested in anything that's a piece of paper that claims you own this or that, or stock or bond or anything. As Lindsey Williams said, the guy told him so many times, he repeats it every time he's on the air. If you have your investments in any kind of paper asset, it is not worth the paper it is printed on. You have got to get into gold and silver. Don't worry about the prices. Just keep buying. This is out of Lindsey Williams' mouth. The guy has a phenomenal track record because he knows an elitist insider.
Right.
I reiterate it. You reiterate it. We keep saying it over and over again. And here we are again talking about it in another video. People have got to understand how important this is.
You're going to thank us one day. You really, truly are. And of course, we're going to thank you for actually having enough understanding and enough wisdom to be able to listen. Because, hey, look at our system. It's jacked up. The whole thing is jacked up. And there are a few people. Remember, even according to the Bible, the Bible always talk like that. There's only going to be a few that have this understanding. Never follow the wave of the world. You follow the wave of the world, you're going to be destroyed with the world.
Yep.
Just follow the voices of the few who have a commodity that is long since past the human existence, or the human cycle of the mind. It's called common sense.
If you're thirsty, would you rather have this, if it was full of water, of course, water bottle, or would you rather have a piece of paper that says you own a water bottle, son? You own a water bottle, son. This thing is, you know how much this water bottle is worth? You know what kind of water bottle this is? Let me show you the other side. Oh, my God. Look at that. Look at that. But wait a minute. I'm thirsty now. I'm dying of thirst. Oh, I've got some water bottles in my safe. I got water bottles in my safe. Let me go grab some. Oh, boom, done. That's what a commodity is. It's a physical asset. And they're taking you and tricking you into thinking this paper that represents that physical asset is the same. So you're going to pay the same, and you're going to make money, and there's people who will get out. Oh, I made a bunch of money in the stock market. Sure, if you can play it right and get out before the things happen, but you're the select few. You're the exception to the rule. Just like in anything, there's an exception to the rule. Oh, I know this guy that made $1 million on eBay and such and such. No one else can do it. He's one guy out of 300 million Americans. So I mean, and
you're not in the Congress, so you don't get insider trader report.
Yeah, there's the other part.
Throw that out.
Yeah, you go to prison for that. Congressmen, they just get a pat on the back and pass laws for getting the information. Yeah, we'll pass that law. I'm going to make how much millions of dollars just off this little investment? Wow, yeah. I'll pass the NDAA. I'll pass the Patriot Act, and I'll pass the health care bill. And oh, yeah, great. Just fill my pockets up. It's amazing. Like you said, it's amazing how 535 people, and then add the president, so 536, can do so much damage and control so much, and the people we gave them the power to represent us, and we never decided, well, we need laws that if they change their mind after the fact and they get voted in, we can repeal them and get them out of office for lying to get in. Or if they don't do as a will of the people, we can remove them immediately by such and such law.
Remarkable.
They don't exist.
Remarkable.
Isn't that amazing? If they did, they would have been removed long ago anyways. So that's about all I got to say.
I appreciate the time. I appreciate the wisdom. Appreciate definitely your labor of love and the effort. And I'm sure the listening audience does. Until next time, Joe, have a good night, brother. Thank you for coming on.
You do the same. Take care.